Hello everyone. So today we will discuss about Java Singleton Design Pattern, best practices with example. So Java Single, as we know, like Java Singleton Design Pattern actually is one of the gangs of four design pattern and comes in under Creational Design Pattern category. From these definitions, it seems to be a very straightforward design pattern, but when it comes to implementation, then it comes with a lot of concerns actually. So here we learn about the singleton design pattern principles, also explore different ways to implement the singleton design pattern and some of the best practices for its uses. So what are the principles for singleton design pattern? So singleton patterns restricts the instantiation of a class and ensure that only one instance of the class exists in the JVM. The singleton class must provide a global access point to get instance of the class. Singleton pattern is used for logging of the logging for any applications, connection related kind of things, caching mechanism, thread pool. For those kind of things, we can use this singleton design pattern as only single object we need to create. So that's why singleton pattern is necessary for those kind of implementations. Then singleton design pattern is also used in other design pattern factory pattern, abstract factory pattern, then builder pattern. There are other pattern also, other pattern also where we can use the singleton pattern. And then also actually singleton also means internally Java also used like runtime java.lang.runtime class. So for now, if we are going to implement this singleton design pattern in a using the code, then what are the approach for this for would be? So it will be to implement this singleton pattern, we need to follow the few things we need to provide the private constructor to restrict the instantiation of the class from the other classes. And also second point is to we need to provide the private static variable of the same class that is that is the only instance of the class. Then next, what would be the things like public static method that actually return the instance of the particular class. So that will be the global access point, and it will be accessed from the outside of this class. Suppose if we are means if we are creating any singleton class, then so that whatever the instance we will create, so that particular instance should be accessed from the outside of this class, right? So for that we need to provide this public static void public static method actually. So here actually we are going to explain different approaches. We are going to define approaches to singleton pattern implementations and design concerns with the implementation actually. Let's uh, let's implement different kind of approaches for creating the singleton pattern. So if we are going to implement this singleton pattern, so for creating the singleton we need to follow, there are actually a lot of ways for creating the singleton pattern. So first approach we will take like the eager initializations. So in the eager initialization, the instance of the singleton class is created at the time of the class loading. So actually suppose we are creating the singleton class, then actually whenever the class is loaded, then on the same time actually it will create the instance. So the drawback actually of this eager initialization is that the method is created even though the client applications might not be using it. So let's create one example for this one. Let's so for creating this project, so let's create one Java project, and in this project we'll create all the things. So let's, the name should be design pattern, and yeah, JDK 17 finish. Yes, so the project is created. Now we'll create the implementations on the, let's create one package here under the source. New, from here we can create the package name. Let's say the package name would be dot pattrn pattern, and under this also we can create another pattern, another package. let's say dot singleton. Okay, so now like what we will do, here actually we'll create one class. For example, it will be, so eager initialization will, we are going to show the example for this one. So let's say eager singleton class. Okay, eager singleton. Okay, so it will be a eager initialization. So what we'll do, first we'll create one object of this particular class. So and it will be a static and final eager, or let's say it's instance equal to new. Okay, next what we will do, we can create one constructor, private constructor, as it is a like main needed for this one, private constructor. And next we need to like create one public static method so that it will be accessed from the outside of this class. Get instance, return instance. Right, so this is the like example of the eager initialization, eager instance, like eager instance of creation of the singleton pattern. So for testing this one, we need to create one main class. So let's create one class, like for example entry point, and from here we will create like we can create the object, for example this eager object 1 equal to dot get instance. Let's create another one. I will explain why. Now sys out. Eager object 1. Okay, system dot out dot constructor header name. Okay, it's my bad actually. I need to, figure object 1. Okay, let's run this program. Okay, okay, I need to print the hash code actually. Then actually you can understand the hash code of the both object is same or not. If it is same, meaning it will create the same, it will return the same object in every day. So here we are trying to do, we have created the two object, just trying to call this one, and it is returning the same hash code. So meaning that it's means it's created the single object. But as I was saying, the main drawbacks of this eager initialization is to the method is created, instance created, even though the client application might not be using it. So if it is used or not used, the instance is getting created over here. So, but the another one things here also you're not handling the exceptions. So for handling the exceptions, so the another way for is like static block initializations. It is same as this one, but only the thing is that we can handle the exceptions. So let's copy this one and static eager singleton. So what we will do here, it will be similar to the eager initializations, but only difference is that we can handle the exceptions. Like here, after the constructor, we need to write one static block. Static. Here we can write try catch. And here we can initialize the instance. Okay, so meaning like if we are getting any exceptions while initiating the or creating the instance, then it will throw the exceptions. Like here from the block of this we can throw new runtime exception, and here we need to provide the exception occurred. Okay, it should not be only runtime exception. Yes. So means here we are not initializing this particular instance in the block of the static. We are creating the instance. Rest are same. So it will also do the same thing. So so this is these are the two approach, but the both in both cases the disadvantage is the drawback is to it will create the instance, it is used or not regardless of it is using or not using. The next concept is do the lazy initializations. The meaning is that so it will create instance only when it is required, meaning like when it will call this particular global entry point class like method actually like this one get instance, then only this time it will create the particular instance. So let's create the example for this one, the lazy initialization. So how it will work, like let me copy this one. Lazy initialization or lazy singleton class, whatever is it. Okay, Now here we'll everything like in here actually we don't need this one. I will delete this one, but instance we need to create over here. And here what we will check, we need to check that particular instance is created or not. So how we can check this one? Like if is equal to null, then only we can create the instance, like this one, new. Okay, if instance is not equal to null, then only we can create. If it is created, then we are return the same instance. So this is a kind of lazy initialization, meaning only when we will call this, it will not create globally, as we are remove the static block also. So it will not create the instance over here, it will create instance from this method only. Meaning if this is called, then first it will check that if the instance is null or not. If it is null, then it will create the instance. If it is not null, then it will return the same object. Let's check this one from here. So let me copy this one, and here lazy initialization singleton, call the instance here. Instead of the eager, we can print something called lazy, and here also lazy object 2, and also we need to replace here. Okay, so this is done now. Now let's run this one again. If we run this one, you can check like this. Okay, it's a lazy one, so let's rename it for understand it easily. Let's run again. You can see the both object created the same hash code, but it will work fine in the single thread env. The problem will occur when we are going to use this kind of implementation in the multi-thread env. Then it will like failed, it will break this singleton pattern. As why it is break? Because if it is a multi-thread, it is not a thread sub implementation, right? So the same thread can't entry inside of the block and at the same time. So if multiple thread entry in the if block, it will pass here, then it will create the multiple instance of the same class. So it will break the singleton pattern. How we will do that? So for that, let's I will replicate the same thing over here. Let's use one executor service. Using the executor service, we can like replicate this one. Let's create one executor service equal to executors and fixed. For example, we are having the 5 thread. Now what we can do, we can we need to write one for loop. For example, int I equal to 0, I less than 5, and plus plus I. Next, we need to execute this particular service, right? Service dot execute. Here we need to pass the runnable. So here we can call the runnable, and inside of the run we need to like run this one actually here. So I can delete the another one. Okay, let's delete one object from here, and also we need to means commented this one so that it will be crawled from here. We are just trying to replicate that as this is a lazy initializations and it's not thread safe. So whenever we are going to like call this instance, so it will like not return the same hash code as we are getting the same instance say hash code from this code. But if you are running using the thread multi-thread, then it will not run. It will give us the like different hash code. Let's see. Let's run this one. Okay. 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 And also we need to shut down this one, like outside of the for loop dot shut down. Okay. And we can lazy object creation using multi-thread. Okay, let's run this one. Okay, as you can see over here, so this multi-thread, this is the hash code, then here actually they are getting the same, means the initially means two thread can define the two hash code. Let's run this again. You can see like 1 2 3 means these are not created like unique, right? So it's created the means it's break the singleton pattern. So that means it is not working. This singleton means this kind of lazy initializing is not work in the multi-thread DNB. So for thread safe singleton, there is actually way of workaround for creating those thread safe singleton pattern. Just we need to use the synchronize actually keyword is there for do it as a thread safe. So we can use those things using the synchronized. So let's create as a thread save one. So we can create, let's copy this one and then thread save lazy initialization singleton. Okay, we need to so what we can do over here. So all the things are fine, only what we need to do, we can here actually put the synchronized keyword. Synchronized. So if we are putting as a synchronized, then it will be a thread shape. Let's run this one. We can instead of this, what we can do, we can call this thread one, thread this one. Let's see what it is doing, right? So we can run using Java application. You can see, right? This is every time. Let's run again. You can see the all the hash code are same, meaning thus it's created only single time. It's not created multiple times. You can see. But one problem with this approach, like but it actually as we are using this synchronized over here, so due to this it will reduce the like performance of this method. So although it will be it's only need for the first few thread, but that might create the separate instances. So for avoiding this kind of like overhead every time, we need to what we need to we need to the double check locking principle is used. So we can use we need to use the another approach. So what will be the approach? Let's see the approach one, another approach. This is the better one. What we can do, let's create means double locking mechanism. a singleton with, or maybe only we can say double locking. Okay, okay. So okay, here actually I get instance with double locking. Here what we need to check, if the instance is null, then here actually we need to create the synchronized block. Okay, here actually we need to provide the class, and then we can check again if instance is null, like this one. If the instance is null, then it will create, else from the outside it will return the same thing. So this is the approach for double locking. So it will actually reduce the the overhead, or performance wise also it will be better. So let's call this one from here and try to run this one. You can see all the objects are created successfully, right? So in this way, like we can create all the things using it will be also a thread safety. Now let's now create so these are the actually approaches. In this way we can create the singleton classes, but there are also certain things that can break the singleton pattern. So as I was saying that so there are certain ways that can be break all the implementations for the singleton pattern. So one of the ways to like using the reflections, reflection can be used to destroy all the like whatever the singleton pattern we have approach we have decided till now, those can be break using this singleton pattern. So we can take one example let's say I can create one example with this one. Let's create one example for this one. So create another class, for example reflection singleton test, and we need also the main method. Okay, it's generated. Let's say we are taking the example of eager singleton. Okay, dot get instance. Okay, so this is the instance one, for example, or let's say that's also fine. Next, two equals to null. Okay, now what we can do, we can use reflection over here. Dot class, and then what we can check, get declare construction. Okay, so it will actually return the constructor array. Okay, here actually we need to provide the catch block. Okay, okay. Next, what we need to do, we need to like iterate from the above the constructor. Okay, we need to iterate the for each. Okay, so here actually we can access the constructor, right? Constructor dot set accessible to mean we can use access the constructor, and here actually we can, from here we can create the instance. Constructor dot new instance. There is some other method also, new new. From here we can, yes. So here also we can create this one, right? And we can use, so after once is created, then we can use the break so that we can like we can break the for loop. So using the sys out we can print those things like instance 1 and comma dot hash code. Okay, instead of comma it will be a class, as we are using the sys out, and here actually singleton 2. Okay, let's see, let's run this program. Yeah, as it is instance 1, so let's rename as instance 2 for easy to understand. Let's rerun this program again. As you can see over here, the both hash codes are different, so that meaning we can break the single, it will break the singleton pattern using the reflections. So this is the one of the way for breaking this one using the reflections. So just to overcome with this one, so there is a approach that like using the enum we can create the singleton. So that is that approach you can take. So the drawback of this enum singleton is to like the inflexible, like it doesn't allow to the lazy initializations, it's always the eager initialization. I can show you the enum example, like how we can create the singleton using the enum singleton. So it will very simple actually. What you need to do, we need to just like create one class, like enum singleton. Actually it's not a class, actually it's a enum actually. Okay, and here we need to provide the instance. Okay, and that's it actually. So and like, okay, and also like we can create the object in Means if we are going to just so the example, so the approach is same like as we are using this for this one. So for the demo purpose I can't write down the things here, but it will be the same, nothing is different. Like enum singleton, and here so it will give us the like hash code. If we want to run this one we can run. Yeah, this one. So these are the PT about this approach of the singleton pattern. The one more point about the singleton pattern is like there is another thing that we can break the singleton pattern. Like sometimes in the distributed applications we need to implement the serializable interface in the singleton class so that we can store it the state and in the file system, and also retrieve it later point retrieve those the means we can deserialize those things for the later used, right? But the problem with this serialized single class is that whenever we are going to deserialize it, it will create a new instance of the class, right? So that means, as we know, the singleton class only single object will be created, but in this scenario it will actually not created like the singleton. Means in the serialization means whenever we are going to deserialize those things, then it will create the new instance. Let's take one example. I can show over here. Let's create one class. Let's say what we can say. You can give any name like serializable singleton. Okay. What do we need to do? Nothing. We are selecting from here. Let's create the class. Close others one. Okay. So first we need to like implement serializer, right? Implement serializer. Okay. So it will actually create one generated serializable ID. Also added over here. Next, we need to provide the private constructor as we are doing for the other classes also. Next, we can create one static class. Here we are creating the the instance inside of the another class. Creating another static method for global entry point or global accessing the instance. Okay, get inst instance. Here actually what we need to do, we need to return this instance from over here. Okay, so this is a one type of singleton, like serializable with the implementing serializable class. So next actually what we need to do, we need to like check this one, right? Means we need to write one main class and from there we need to check. So let's write one main class. Serializable singleton test class, and we need the main method over here. Okay, is generated. Now what we need to do here, we need to get the instance first, right? Equal to dot get instance. Okay, it will return the instance. So and then what we will do, we will deserialize it. How we'll do that? We can take some like object output stream, and here we will provide file output stream, and here we need to provide the like file name, for example test. We have provide the, and we need to like throw exception. Okay, we need to assign it in the object output. Object output. Okay, next we need to write the object, right? Dot write object. Okay, instance 1. Next we need to close this. After write it, we need to close this one. Okay, so this is the kind of the output we have written. Next, what we need to do, we need to deserialize. So this is the serialization is done, and so next we need to like deserialize. So for the deserialize, what we need to do, we need to like input stream object, input stream. Here we need to take file input stream, and here we need to provide the same file name, right? And we need to store it object input. and name is kind of input. Then we need to like we need to read the object dot read object. Okay, and what would be the like class name we need to provide? The class name is this one, and it will be, for example, instance 2, and we need to casting obviously, else it will give us a compilation exception, and it needs throw class not found exception. Okay, so this is done, and also here actually we need to close this one input object, input resource. Now sys out those things. Instance 1 like this one, next instance 2 let's run this one. Okay, we need to pin the hash code. Same for this one also. Let's run this one. Okay, as you can see, those are printed the defined object, but it shouldn't, right? Because we are using the singleton class, but in case of the deserialize, it is creating the defined object. So this is also problematic, right? So to avoid that one, actually we need to use another things, another functions kind of thing. So you can say it's a read resolve of means method. So this particular things actually we need to add inside of the serializing class. So we need to use this read resolve method inside of this here. So how we can use this one? It will be a protected, return type would be the object, and it would be read resolve. Okay, and here from here it will return the get instance. Okay, now let's try to run this again, run this program again. Again it is failing. Okay, let's check. Here is a typo, it should be resolved. So L. Okay, now it should work. Yeah, you can see now the hash code are generated, both are same, right? So that means it's not break the singleton pattern, right? Okay, so you can see like these are the means using this way we can like as it was breaking the previously, but now it is working fine, means it's not break the singleton pattern behavior. So these are the like singleton pattern like create, means if we are going to create the singleton pattern, so these are the like approach. In this way we can create like a singleton class as per your need. You can create your own. In case if you have any like concerns or query, do let me know in the comment sections. For the timing, see you in the next video. Bye bye, thank you.